Good evening or good day, fellow Toastmasters. Welcome to another meeting of the Singapore Online English Club. So it's Singapore, English speaking, but online. So currently I am broadcasting from Greece. So you got friends from Europe already by joining this meeting. And it would be such a delight to hear about yourselves and where you come from. And perhaps since tonight we have a meeting theme called servant leadership. If you've heard of servant leadership before, please raise your hand like I do now on camera. All right. So there is an extra task there for those that are aware of the term. When you present yourselves and where you're currently sitting, can you just add a sentence or two of what servant leadership means to you? This concept is big within Toastmasters. It is a core value and philosophy. So what we're going to do is that we're going to go around with a short introduction, and perhaps those of you that feel comfortable to do it, tell us how you view servant leadership. There are no right or wrong answers when it comes to that. But before we do that, there are 3 rules of conduct I would like to share with you. First of all, when you are not doing the talking, please keep yourself on mute because we want to avoid external noises that might interfere with the person talking. Number 2, if you do not wish for you to be recorded, you're welcome to turn off your camera at any point during the meeting. And number 3, if you are recorded and you would like the part of your speaking, or perhaps if you're giving a competition speech and you would like for this speech in particular to not be included in the recorded, to be edited out, then feel free to tell this either to me or to the club president, Willie. All right, no more rules, let's have fun. So let's go for a quick round of introductions with the added bonus question about servant leadership. I would first like to hear from Toastmaster Dennis Ham from the US of A. Dennis.
Thank you, Panos, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. I am, let's see, this morning, right now, I'm saying morning because right here where I'm at in the United States, in California, it is 5:07 a.m. So my day is just beginning, and for most of you, your day is pretty much ending. So we pretty much cover the whole globe. I belong to three other clubs, which are regular face-to-face clubs, and I am president of one of them and VPE in 2 of them. So I had to look up servant leadership last night. I didn't know what it was and looked up and found out. I guess I am that because I feel that I am trying to serve all of my members in my 3 clubs and help them get moving along in Toastmasters, get out of the traditional manuals and move over to pathways. So I think that I am a servant leader. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Dennis, for giving an example of how you put servant leadership to practice. Right after, I would like to hear from Toastmaster Alicia. Alicia, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Toastmaster Panos. Well, I was very excited to see this theme of servant leadership because it brought me back to memories of the past. One of the jobs I was in about, I would say more than 10 years ago, when I was a in-house trainer for a company called Service Master. I don't know whether anybody heard of this Service Master company. They have a long history in US, and then they set up franchises. So they were majoring in cleaning services and integrated facility management. So the core philosophy was servant leadership. And when I first joined the company in Singapore, they made me enter into an orientation program whereby I watched a video on servant leadership. That was the first time I watched a video, and it really touched me to know that the management of the company was focused on servant leadership, which was rather hands-on kind of leadership, which means to serve the workers or the staff in the company. And then to lead as a leader by serving. I found this very interesting, and it has always been with me. And I've tried to practice this in my work, my non-profit organization, etc. So that's my take on servant leadership. I'll continue to use it even though times have changed. I still think it's still relevant. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you for giving us an example about a concept that you learned at one place that influenced you so much that you're bringing its benefits over into other areas that you touch. It makes me wonder about all those things we learn within Toastmasters, and we find ourselves applying them in all other aspects, improving other areas of our lives. Right after that, I'm very interested in hearing from Gary Kim. Gary, are you ready to take the floor?
Of course, Toastmasters Panos. My name is Gary Kim. I'm now in South Korea. I know many of you are worried about the situation here. It is not very good because of the Corona-19, but we are working very hard to stop it. And it is not only Asia, it is becoming global. So let's work together to minimize this terrible situation. Anyways, regarding the theme of the meeting, I'm really interested in the idea of leadership, and when servant leadership comes to my life, I'm married with 2 children. So in my family, I believe I'm a servant. I'm the one who supports my family, and I'm the one who wash dishes, and throughout the all the trashes. But I obviously my wife is not happy about the level of my service, but I do my best to survive in my family. Back to you, Toastmaster Panos.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you for sharing from your personal experience. You made me think of the following question. What if we decided to treat others like family? Before we exercise judgment to think if they deserve it or not, what if this was our stance, our intention? Right after that, I would like to hear from Toastmaster Rong Lee. Rong, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Hi, Toastmasters Panos. I'm Rong Lee. I'm from Singapore. I'm from the Clementi CC Club. And the first time I heard about servant leadership, I actually think of the servant actually leading the leader, because usually the servant provides all the information to the leader. So I think that maybe the servant can actually mislead the leader to do certain things, and it's like some sort of middle management. So that's my idea of a servant leadership before I Googled what servant leadership is. Back to you, Toastmasters Panos.
Thank you, Rong Lee. You opened up our eyes to the dark side of servant leadership. Perhaps we can call it disservant leadership. right after that, I would like to hear from Rosanna. Rosanna, are you ready?
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Yeah, this is Rosanna from Hong Kong. And yeah, when I just heard about servants leadership, I will think many leaders in a row that you look at them on the TV, all of them are so smart and looking, they have a very good strategy and lead everybody to go to the right direction. So, but what about servants leadership? So I would focus on the personalities of the leaders. Are they humble? Are they treat themselves like a servant? Because as a servant, you always think how to serve others. What is the benefits for the audience? You are not only focusing what you want, but because you really care about others. So I think for servant leaders, they have a heart to care about the road or the needs of everybody. So personality is can guide them to be a good leader. So the people following them, they would admire what they think, and the direction is maybe not only benefits to oneself, but for the whole world, maybe. Yeah, this is what I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosanna. When we lead from the heart and when we are humble, I believe then we lead by example, and the true benefits to that can inspire so many others on so many levels that even ourselves can marvel at how far good conduct can reach. Now, it will be my pleasure to hear from Toastmaster Angela. Angela, can you hear us? We cannot hear you, Angela. Please unmute yourself.
Hello.
Right.
Hello from London, England. Makes a change. I'm normally in Singapore. Last time I saw you all. A little about me. In London, I belong to a Toastmasters group called Harrovians, which, as you might suspect, is in Harrow. Harrovian means from Harrow. And I've been to one meeting here, and everybody was looking at me and saying, is it okay for you to ride in our car if you're from Singapore? And I've been watching the numbers affected, and last heard of it was 96. So now it's reached England. I'm not sure where I'm safest. Anyway, I'll be probably in another country next time I speak to you. And when I'm in Singapore, I'm president of Bradle Heights Advanced. I'm also a member of Tampines Chancat Advanced, and I'm also area director of A3 with a contest coming up. So life is quite busy. And regarding your question of whether one should be a leader or a servant, or a leader who is a servant, this is a question which arises if you're doing one of the leadership paths in Toastmasters. What kind of leader am I? And there's at one extreme, there's the dictatorial leader, and then there's the one who runs a democracy and gets everybody's views. And then I think possibly at the other extreme, there is the servant leader who's trying to find out what people want and give it to them. But I remember a famous line from the film Downton Abbey, when the lady who was the housekeeper said that her role was to work out what people wanted and give it to them before they'd asked for it or thought of it. So when they came in riding outside in the cold, she would have a hot drink ready for them. Before they came and asked for it, it was already there when they arrived. And that's part of the role of anyone who's on a committee, is to anticipate future meetings and what people are going to want. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. You made me think about the value of experience that a leader has. And when you're experienced enough that can see a few steps down the road, and be able and willing, having the capacity and intent to offer this to others, then you're a true leader. Would you agree?
Yes, you put it very succinctly.
Thank you. I could only do it because of your introduction and your help and the inspiration that flowed through you. Right after that, I would like to hear from Rebecca. Rebecca, the floor is yours.
Hello. Hi, my name is Rebecca. I live in Frankfurt, Germany. And maybe I'm the only one who's at work at the moment. So it's 2:20. I'm still in the office. But I took some time to attend this meeting today. It's very interesting to see how you organize an online club. I have only attended 3 offline clubs in different countries. I was in Korea and also here in Germany. And what can I say? A servant leadership, I have not heard this term before, but I also thought, like Angela, what's the opposite? It's like a dictator or someone who really just tells you what to do without caring how you feel about it. And for me, a servant leader also listens to to others and tries to understand them, and also tries to get the best out of them. That's what how I would see a servant leader. Thank you.
Welcome, fellow European, to the online meeting. We are becoming many from Europe. President Willie, look at that. Rebecca, there is, in my opinion, lots of value when we define what we do not want. So perhaps servant leadership is still a new concept for it to have a formal definition, but we know that it is certainly not a dictatorship. And we know, thanks to you, that it involves listening and understanding. Having said that, I would like to pass the ball back to Singapore and hear from Toastmaster Naveen. Naveen.
Hey, good evening from Singapore. The VP of the honor test is doing all right. Well, for leadership is and since the virus has broken out, the COVID-19 virus, these guys are at the front line sacrificing everything. We've also had nurses, stories of nurses who had to postpone their wedding because of the COVID-19. They had to, be on the front line to serve the patients. And also for me personally, since I am Catholic, servant leadership is for me now servant leadership. And over to you, Panos. Hello.
Thank you, Naveen. Right now, for me, servant leadership would be to give you the floor again for 15 seconds so that you may repeat your last sentence, because I'm curious to hear it, but I didn't get the chance to. You managed to speak faster than your internet connection. That says something. Could you repeat your view on servant leadership, Naveen? Or do you want to put it in the chat box?
Did I break up just now?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
All right. For me, servant leadership is the nurses and the doctors that are serving the world because of this. That is one of them. And for me personally, servant leadership is, as a Catholic, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That's all I have to say. Thank you, Panos.
All right. Thank you, Naveen. Then we shall move on to Toastmaster George. George, are you ready?
Hello, everyone. I'm George, and I'm also from Greece. Panos told me about this meeting. I didn't know about it, and I'm actually very, very excited to be here. I could never imagine that something like that exists. I'm from Athens, Greece, and I am the VPM of Hellenic Toastmasters Club here in Athens. And now for the concept of servant leadership. Honestly, all of you defined it in different ways, and I find all those ways interesting. For me, I guess it's about treating leadership as not a privilege, but a responsibility to your team. Essentially, for me, it is about enabling others to do their work, what they have to do well. That's how I would define it. Thank you. Back to you, Panos.
Thank you, George. Thank you. Certainly leadership is not a privilege, but we do have the privilege tonight to listen to your views on leadership. I'm taking notes, and I can tell you my understanding goes like, poof. And right after that, it will be my pleasure to hear from Marlon. Marlon, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marlon. I'm from the Philippines, but I work and live here in Dubai. I've been here for the past 11 years, and it's great to be part of this online community. I've been part of the Toastmasters Club here in Dubai as well. It's called Vigirati Toastmasters. And from the time that I graduated college, I started my career in HR. And until this time, I'm working in human resources, in learning and development to be in particular. And for me, servant leadership is best explained in this statement. It says that anyone who wants to be the first must be the very last and the servant of all. A servant leader is not someone who is after fame and recognition, but someone who is dedicated to influence others in a good way and at the same time to leave a legacy. That's it.
Wow. Imagine if we had given you time to prepare. Like, imagine. It's clear that this question has been something that you've invested time to figure it out. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, Marlon. Right after that, I would like to invite Chloe Lee. Can you hear us? Chloe, hey, let's welcome Chloe, everyone.
Hello,
Chloe just showed
guys.
up on camera.
Hello guys, I'm Chloe and I'm from China, and I'm the president of Dongguan English Toastmaster, which is the south part of the China. And because of the coronavirus, we often have an offline meeting, but recently we have to do the online meeting, and our club also transferred to the online. And today I'm very glad to join you guys. This is my first time for the international meeting. So when we are talking about servant leadership, I think that's very interesting because my current leader is like servant leadership style. But you know, before he came to my his current position, I have a leader before, which is innovative or a coaching leadership style. So that's very different. So when this new leader came to lead us, we feel very not get used to that. We feel we are lacking of some directions or something else. So back to this topic, I'm reflecting that about servant leadership. I think the true essence of that is to truly understanding what the people need. And servant leadership maybe could combine with innovative or other kind of leadership style so that to better lead. So that is my point. Back to Toastmasters. Thank you.
Thank you, Chloe, for your input. What I learned from you is that servant leadership complements other leadership styles and focuses on the needs of the people as much as what people can produce in terms of work outcome, integrating those two aspects. Then it will be my pleasure to hear from Toastmaster Lorraine. Lorraine Luo, are you with us?
Hi, hello, yes, I'm here. Hello everyone, this is Naveen from China, and I came from the same club as Chloe. I'm currently the VPPR. Speaking of the servant leadership, in my opinion, I think all the officers in Toastmaster clubs, they are kind of under this kind of servant leadership style, because we all serve our member, our club, without any like money, but we do. And I think all the officers under Toastmaster clubs are this kind of leadership style. And this is also important that when to apply in our daily work, because your members, your team members will feel supportive from their leader, then the atmosphere among the team will be totally different. Then the team will be like tied together, make more effort to at work. This is all about my topic. Back to Toastmaster.
Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you. We've all had the experience that when we care for each other and we actively show it, that increases the human bonding. And a team based on human bonding will function at its best, because we will all have each other's back. Right after that, I would like to hear from Toastmaster Hakim from Singapore. Hakim, are you with us?
Hello, hello everyone, this is Hakim. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Hello, hello? I can't hear anybody here. Okay, I suppose that means yes.
Hello, Hakim, hello.
Okay, thanks. Good to hear some voices. To me, servant leadership is the only kind of leadership, because in order for you to be able to serve, you need to know and understand the people whom you're going to lead. So in order to be able to lead, you need to know the people whom you're going to lead. And the only way you can do that is to be able to serve. And the only way you can be a good leader is actually to get to know each and every one of your members whenever possible. And if possible, why are you grinning, Mr. Naveen? Yeah, I got to see so many people actually. Haven't been around for a couple of meetings, but good to see that there are people from all over the world, even Angela from all the way from London. Nice. And Panos, you're doing a good job. Thanks to you. Over to you.
Thank you, Hakim. Thank you. The importance of communication shines each and every day. So I take your advice. Talk, connect, and communicate whenever possible, as much as possible. It shows that you value the rest of your team. And then, last but not least, Li Xiang. The floor is yours, Li.
Hello, I'm Li Xiang. I'm from Tampines Changkat Advanced Toastmaster Club in Singapore. I'm the club president. Instead of people working to serve the leader, I believe the leader is to serve the people. When we serve, the people, we will learn from ourselves and increase our value and get to understand people better. And people will benefit from us when we serve them, and we will learn from each other. That is my understanding of the servant leader. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Lee. Thank you. And this was an excellent bridge to my understanding of servant leadership, which I believe is a wise phrase. And as with most wise phrases that I share, I was not the one that thought about it. This phrase comes from Simon Sinek, who is a leadership guru. And Simon Sinek defined leadership as, instead of being in charge, taking care of those who are in your charge. So instead of reminding people who's in charge, taking care of your team, of those that you are in charge of. And I believe this echoes Lee's view. Wow, this was amazing. Like if I could just only keep this half an hour from today, I believe that it made me a better person. But you know what? The meeting has just started. So right off we go to table topics, the frivolous part of the meeting where we get to improvise. And help me invite on our virtual stage our table topics master tonight, President Willie Lowe.
Thank you, tabletop Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster panel. Before I start the table topic, I need to open my opening address. Okay.
I never gave you the floor. I'm sorry. Well, you see.
Okay, it's okay. It's the same person. It's okay.
My club leader is so transparent that sometimes I forget he exists, but I assure you that he is everywhere, moving behind the scenes, making sure everything runs as it should. Back to you, Willie.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Many of you whom I know are the leaders in your physical club, physical Toastmaster club, district leader in the various districts. By the way, do you know what it's like to be a leader in a Toastmaster club? So I should say that could be a president, could be a VPE, vice president of education, vice president of membership, vice president of public relationship, secretary, treasurer, and sergeant of us. Actually, before I tell you the answer, let me share you some thoughts of servant leadership by past international director DTM Theobald 2009 to 2011. In 1970, Robert K. Leaf coined the term servant leadership, ESA, the servant as leader. He described the great leader as one who is first seen as a servant to others. Becoming a servant leader begins with a natural feeling that one wants to serve first. He went on to describe this type of leader as one who first make sure that other people's highest priority needs are being served. The question to us, do those serve to grow as a person, or do they, while being served, become healthier, wiser, freer, more autonomous, more likely themselves to be served? And what is the effect of the least privileged in society? Will they benefit, or at least not be further depressed? This same fundamental concept applies to Toastmaster leader. Each year, we choose district leader, board member, and Toastmaster club executive officers. At times we was wonder why more people are not ready to step forward. This can be happen where leaders are not charioted to learn and grow. As leader, be Toastmaster, we have an important opportunity to engage, mentor, and develop new leaders for the future of our organization. That is Toastmaster. Some leaders are so too happy to do the work of those who serve on their team. This can happen if a leader does not trust others or set perfection as he or her standard. It may be tempting to jump in and take over a task, but in the end, there's no learning, and neither the leader or the learner grow. As a servant leadership, give others a chance to learn and grow, then get out the way as they perform beyond our expectations. Touch life this year as a servant leadership. We will all benefit as our future leader experience, understand the quality of servant leadership. A Toastmaster Club like Singapore Online English Toastmaster Club is one of the stewards of our organization, and any Toastmaster Club have an also responsibility to lead in way that engage members to help them grow using Toastmaster International core values that are equality, respect, service, and excellence. So 3 months down the road, most of us who are district officer, club officer will have to step down to make way for new leader. New leader will come on board and learn the skill of serving the member of the club. It's not a leader is not to ask you to do what. A leader is to guide you along the way. A manager is one who manages the situation. Not a leader does not manage. A leader thinks of a vision long term. A month ago, when the first Wuhan virus was heard in the news, I take the first step of writing to Toastmasters International, say that what can physical club do and what can the online club help them. I discussed with some of my club officers, and we say that why not we help the physical club to the physical club Toastmaster to continue their journey in education and leadership by providing speaking opportunity online. So that already these 3 months, 2 months, 3 months, we don't know how long it will last. We'll take this opportunity to help them continue in their journey, in their Toastmaster journey. As for Toastmasters who have not completed their traditional program, they will take this chance to finish their project speech, and then there can be a advanced communicator, which one of our member, Toastmaster Pano, have completed his advanced communicator civil just last week, and we submitted the goals to Toastmasters International this morning, last night and this morning. And in Toastmaster Club, the club officer have some goals that Toastmaster have set. Toastmaster International have set for us, for every club. I'm happy to give you some good news. The Singapore Online English Toastmaster have reached 4 out of 8 goals. We are a district club. We are very close to our 8 goals in the coming 3 months or so. All thanks to my club ESCO club officer who have stepped me to help me, to give me advice, and where I set the direction for the club. Setting up this club is not easy. I met up with a lot of rejection, a lot of negativity for a lot of Toastmasters. I made the path to take the first step and charter this Singapore online club with a different vision as compared to other online clubs in the world. Well, I can't tell you what is so special. Please continue to enjoy the meeting and you will know the answer. Over back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Thank you for your presidential address, Willie. You highlighted the importance of giving credit where credit is due. By giving credit to our team, we motivate them to keep bringing their best into the activities that we do. Well, now this formally concludes the round of introductions, and it is my pleasure to take you all on a journey of improvisation. So put your hands together like we do in the online world to welcome our table topics master for the evening, Toastmaster Willie. Willie, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Okay. At every Toastmaster meeting, whether online or offline or physical club, we always have the most terrific moment of our life. We'll give you a topic. You choose a topic. We choose you. You choose a topic, and your answer be 2 minutes. You have to answer. Even you don't know how to answer, you still have to say some words. That's why you start your icebreaker to anyone, even to your boyfriend, to your girlfriend, your future, your husband to be, or your wife to be. This is the most. If you cannot sell your idea within 3 minutes, you fail as a speaker or as a communicator. Okay, let me share my slide and we can start. Okay. The timer is Dennis and he will show 1 minute green light and 1.5 minute yellow light, and 2nd minute is red light, and 2 minutes and 30 seconds there's a sound, there's a clap for him or a sound for him saying stand up. Okay, let me choose someone. Let me choose a Toastmaster. George, you have the first. You have the honor to speak first. To choose.
Thank you. Do I choose the number or how does it?
You choose a number. I will select for you.
Number 4, I guess.
Okay.
My lucky number.
Yeah, this is the answer. This is. I will never be only positive and optimistic that destructive, negative, and hateful.
Alrighty. So, what an interesting table topic. I've noticed in my personal life and also my professional life that there are 2 kinds of people. People that see the glass half empty and people that see the glass half full. Now, for me, since I was a child, I always wanted to see the glass half full. Unfortunately, since I was a child, I used to see the glass half empty. However, because I have it in my mind that it's always best to see something positively, and since I try to associate myself with positive people, like you guys, like Panos, who invited me to this wonderful meeting, I have noticed that being positive is a choice. You are not born positive. You learn how to be positive. And after a certain point, after you master this skill, it comes effortlessly. You don't even have to think about it. You look around you and you see the beauty of life, the beauty of people. You go beyond their flaws and you see their strengths. Now, of course, that might be annoyingly positive, quote, quote, for some people, but who cares, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all about feeling good, and being annoyingly positive feels good. So, of course, I would rather be annoyingly positive and optimistic rather than destructively negative and hateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Let us go to the next person. Maybe any volunteer before I choose anyone? Can I choose Alicia? Choose a topic.
All right. I will choose table topic 14.
There's only two ways to influence human behavior. You can manipulate it or you can inspire.
Yes, I totally agree with the statement. There are only two ways of influencing human behavior. Either you manipulate it or you inspire it. Well, as my birth star is a Scorpio, Scorpions are known to use manipulation to influence behavior and to get what they want. However, I'm not a total Scorpion. I have also my Chinese star, which helps to modify my behavior. So I don't really subscribe to the manipulation to get what I mean, what I get, what I want. Maybe I used it when I was younger, or sometimes in a sense of desperation. Then I may resort to manipulation. However, most of the time, I will try to seek to inspire people instead. Because when you inspire people, you actually lift them up to a higher level. And they feel good. And they become more beyond motivated. And they get going with what they want to do. Manipulation, on the other hand, has a lot of negative connotation. You manipulate someone to get things done, but at the end of it, when the person discovers that he's being manipulated or she is being manipulated, then there's trouble. People will become very negative towards you. So I have experienced that, and that's why I decided never to use manipulation anymore. It's a short-term measure, like a knee-jerk thing that you can do. So now these days, I'm working towards inspiring people, just like doing more speeches that are inspiring. When I heard President Willie's speech, I was really inspired about servant leadership and brought back good memories. So I should continue with the good work of servant leadership. And I also try to inspire people through my speeches when I'm also president of Whampoa Toastmasters Club. So to conclude, both ways are useful to influence people. Situation calls for different usage. Manipulation for short-term period, but for the long-term gains and long-term influence of people's behavior, I subscribe and highly encourage people to use inspiration instead. Back to you, Toastmaster, debate topic master.
Thank you, Alicia. Okay, let me share my screen again, and then let me choose someone for the East. Rosanna for Hong Kong.
Okay.
Choose the topic.
Okay. Table topic 1.
Oh. Lead for the back and let others believe they are in the front. It's by former South Africa President Nelson Mandela.
Okay. Lead from the back and let others believe they are in front. Okay. I think this is quite relevant to our topic today. Yeah, our servants leadership, right? So yeah, I think for the role, so many people like to be the followers. Nobody likes to be the pioneer, because the one you just go in the front, you just let the people take risks the most. They don't know the way, but they stand in the front. So everybody just follow them without asking questions, because for the blind followers, it's quite easy. No need to think about the way, they just follows. So as leader, can we just be the pioneer? But for the pioneer, doesn't mean that you are only one to stand in the front, because you have a team, you have your people, you have your nations, you have your friends, you have your family members. So all the people group together, and it doesn't really matter to go in the front or at the back. At least you have the mindsets that you're one team. So it's not your position or are you in the front or at the back, but at least I think the leadership principle is to think about the benefits for the whole group. And sometimes we really need to step back to look at the big environments, to observe what is going on, and have the big picture, and understand the needs behind the whole group. So sometimes for the leaders, it's not only you to go in the front, because sometimes you may ignore the big group at the back. So if we can step back and be humble and follow the whole group to understand what they really care, then we can just give them good advice at the back, and always be a good backup, and give them the supportive energy to show the your ability actually is how to back up your team. So this is what my share. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosanna. Okay, can I have a volunteer before I choose the person? Okay, let's go back to the east, to the central. That's for Europe. Let us try someone. Rebecca, would you like to try take a topic and try?
Yeah, I take number 15.
Okay, just in leadership, character is more important than strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. In leadership, character is more important than strategy.
Okay, that's also a very interesting topic. I think, in my opinion, a good leader has to have a few characteristics that are very important, maybe more important than having the strategy. So what is the characteristics of a leader? So Like we said earlier, the servant leadership is, for example, someone who understands or tries to understand his team, someone who is humble, someone who listens and not only tells people what to do, but leads from the back, as we heard before. So characteristics are important because this is what people see first. When you have a leader and his team, his character is mostly visible. So, and what he does later on is to communicate a strategy. But to communicate a strategy, you have to have a leader who has a really decent and how do you say, yeah, a positive character to be able to communicate to his team and to make this strategy visible. To conclude, I agree with this statement that the character is more important than the strategy, but he should not forget the strategy, because to have a strategy and a clear vision and a direction is also important, what that gives the team the direction where it will go. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca, on her first attempt as table topic speaker. Okay, let us go to the next speaker. Can I have someone for China? Chloe.
Okay, I will choose table topic 3.
3?
Yes.
Okay, 3. All life is an experience. The more experience you make, the better. It's by Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Okay, I feel lucky. This is much easier than other people's. Okay, so life is like an experiment. I really totally agree with this sentence, because everyone is born, without experience. We are not born as leader. We are learned to be a leader, and everything we could and we should learn from life. And no one is the master of something when they were born. So we all are in a journey to learn something new. And even when we have a task to finish, even though we cannot finish perfectly, but we are learning. That is a mindset called growth mindset. So instead of growth mindset, we have the fixed mindset. So fixed mindset means life is outcome. So we have to do it perfectly, but that is not true. Life is an experiment. We can always try what we want and what we want to learn, and try our method to to learn how to have a better results. So life is a process we should or we could enjoy on the journey instead of making some perfect outcome. So life is an experiment, and we all should learn in the progress. And I think that's it. Back to Toastmaster.
Thank you, Chloe. Let us have the next speaker. Let me choose Marlon. Choose a topic. This is your Toastmaster.
Number 8.
Okay. The key to successful leadership is influence, not authority, by Kenneth Batra.
Okay. Thank you,
of-
Toastmaster.
Okay, sorry.
All right. Sure. Thank you, Toastmaster Willie. So my topic is the key to successful leadership is influence, not authority, by Kenneth Blanchard. I totally agree with that, because many times leaders tend to use their authority or their position to make things happen, to achieve something, to recognize their goal, their objectives. But I think that will be for short term only, because if we are able to influence others by not coercing or harming them, we will be able to get the engagement of our members in a positive way. For example, you are tasked to accomplish something. Instead of scaring or threatening your members by using your authority, they might follow later, they might follow for a short period of time, but for a long-term period, it will not be helpful because they will be scared at you, and at the same time, you will not get their dedication and commitment. So I highly believe that to influence people by making a good example, by having a leader with good character, as what Rebecca mentioned, this is something that a leader should aspire for, because definitely people will remember you because of that kind of leadership, and the world will really recognize you. And I think that people who are leading because of intimidation or because of coercion are weak type of leaders. So I don't really believe that we have to use our authority just to lead. It's better to be a good influence to them. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Marlon. Okay, let me continue. Let us continue. Okay, this topic will go up to Singaporeans. Let me choose someone. Angela, choose a topic.
Topic 13, please.
Nearly all men can test adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power.
Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, where I am, and good morning to you in America. This is a very strange topic because we usually say the opposite, that power makes life easy, and it's in adversity that you're tested. And what about power? I was thinking earlier on of the people in charge of armies and navies. I was thinking of Wellington and Napoleon and Nelson. And one of my favorite phrases is from Napoleon, who said 5 minutes is the difference between defeat and victory, because he was put in a position where he was outnumbered with his ships, and he chose to ignore an instruction and to race forward. Maybe I'm mixing him up with Nelson. Anyway, they were all people who rushed into action, but they also knew what they were about to do because they had studied the positions of their opponents and worked out their strategy. We were talking about strategy at least the evening before. They didn't just turn up to the battle and think, oh, hello, how many people are there today? What shall I do? They worked out how many people were in the opposition and what move they were going to take and at what time they were going to do it, what the weather was. And if you're fighting a big battle, that's what you have to do. And we're fighting big battle worldwide now with the coronavirus. We have to work out, as we've seen, I think possibly for the first time on the internet, that you can start predicting what's going to happen days in advance and look at the graphs and see whether the figures are going up or down and how they're spreading around the world. And you can make a strategy. So your leader is there to make decisions. I've now forgotten what the question was. Can you show it to me again?
It's in the chat window.
What was the question?
Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power.
Give him power. The only time when I think power is likely to agree with this statement is when somebody has power and they have the power to, for example, commit a murder if they are the president of a country and want to get rid of the opposition. Whereas before, when they were little minions, they couldn't do anything like that. But it's not the case that it's just power, because if you open your newspapers, you can see that people in their own families can make exactly the same decisions. So what do I think? I think that everything tests you. Having no power tests you, and having power tests you. Because in every situation, you can go along with the situation, or you can resist it, or you can be stoical, and you can make decisions for yourself and for others. The question is, how do you deal with the situation and be prepared when you come to power? Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. My last two table topic question. Let me choose for Sophie Xu. I believe it's for China or Hong Kong. Sophie, choose a table topic.
Yeah, sure. So I think something wrong with my camera. I cannot turn on.
It's okay. Just speak.
Sure. May I choose topic 2?
Which table topic?
Table topic 2.
Okay. People join because of great vision. People leave because of poor leadership. Let me
Sure.
put it in the chat for you.
Okay, thank you. This is actually my first time joining the meeting, so I'm a little bit nervous. So I think, thank you for the chat. So people join because of great vision, people leave because of poor leadership. So I think I totally agree with this point from my previous experience that I have supervisor, who have very clear mission and strategy and goals for our office. And I feel, like I was very motivated to go to work every day. I was, I know what I list my my small goals are supporting our office mission. So I get very excited. In addition to that, my supervisor also gave me a lot of room for creativity. I can see what she could provide me for a lot of guidance, a lot of support. Compared to my another position, I have a manager. She's very kind, but on the other hand, I be micromanaged. She looking into like all the details of my work, which is good. But sometimes she doesn't give me the facts. So and I feel like I wasn't be holding accountable for the task I'm doing. I don't know whether this is good enough. Sorry, this is my first time, so I'm sort of nervous about it.
Thank you, Sophie Xu for China. Okay. Let me try to get someone. Someone just came in. Thomas Chen.
Hey, no sabo wow. I come here crash party only.
You are wanted here. Choose a topic.
Wait, the that one it means
that one is not taken yet.
5, 6, 7 not taken yet lah.
Yes.
I take 5 lah.
Okay. Surround yourself with great people. Delegate authority. Get out of the way.
Wow.
I will put it in the chat
people,
for you.
Delegate authority. Get out of the way. Okay lah. Hello everyone, my name is Thomas. So I agree that we should surround ourselves with great people because we can feed off all the positive energy, we can learn from them, we can get support from them. But as much as we surround ourselves with positive people, this may sound a bit controversial. I encourage you to delve into an environment of negative people as well. Why would I say so? Because that is when you can truly see how they function. And because you know how they function, you know how to avoid these scenarios in the future. Because although you are in the surrounding with negative people, doesn't mean you have to emulate them, doesn't mean you have to feed off their negative energy. This is where your mindset has to come in. You put yourself in those negative environments to learn from them. So even if the life becomes very horrible, become very horrendous, tell yourself that this is just a learning lesson. It's just an opportunity for you to gain experience. And then when you finally feel that, hey, it's perhaps time for me to get out of this environment because I've learned enough from it, get out and then go back to all those positive environments. But don't neglect either side, because a positive environment, it's only positive because you know about all the negativity out there. If you just surround yourself with positivity all the way, honestly speaking, it's not practical. There will be times where you face with negativity. So how do you know all of those things are negative in the first place? It's only when you gain exposure from them. So at the end of the day, be it who you surround yourself with, it is all about how you leverage on your surroundings at that point in time. Gain the experience out of it, and that's how you truly grow from it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Willie, we can't hear you.
Okay.
Willie, you're supposed to press it once. You press it twice, you're back to nothing.
Okay. I have one last table topic. Let me choose someone. Yes, who have not spoken? Who? Okay. Abdul. Choose a topic, Abdul. For US. Where are you? I can't find you. Abdul, are you there? Okay, no problem. It's not available. Let me get the last table topic. Speaker. Lisa, you have been chosen to be the next step. Choose a topic, Lisa. Are you there?
Yeah.
Choose a topic.
7.
Sorry. To lead people walk behind them is by Lao Tzu. I will type in the chat.
Remember to drink water, guys.
To lead people, let me see the question again. Let me see the questions again. Hello, are you able to hear me?
Never mind, let me repeat. To lead people, walk behind them.
Okay, to lead people, walk behind them. I agree with these sentences. I myself as a leader, I have this habit of I have this habit of walking behind people. Whenever I organize, my hobby is running. I love to run, so I always organize. Whenever I organize a run, initially I will plan everything and lead everything. But when come to the actual events, I'm always the sweeper. In running, they always call the person at the back is called the sweeper. So I always behind, ensures that everything is in order, no one is left behind. That is my style of doing, and a lot of times whenever even in my Toastmaster club, when I'm the club president, a lot of times I will do things not in front of the people, but behind, guiding them, ensures that everything is correct, and I empower the people in front. And those people who are leading it, they are very happy because they find that people recognize them, people can see them. But I myself, I always feel contented, even though people don't see me doing the job behind. That is my agreement to this statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And we end our table topic session, but before you go, there's something for you, for people out there. Okay. Forget about the timing for now. Okay. Then you can vote who is the best table topic speaker tonight. Oh.
This is the timing for everyone.
Any the vote will close soon in 20 seconds. Give us drum roll. In Toastmasters, we always use drum roll. Okay, let me tell you the result. The winner is our Thomas the Train again. Hey, Thomas, Alicia got something for you. Alicia got something for you. Application form. And over back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Willie. Where to begin? Where to begin? I will do my best to conclude all the input that you gave us and all the thought process that you stimulated into us by saying something that I learned from within Toastmasters, that leaders create other leaders. And it's my opinion that the whole table topics session helped us focus on our thinking exactly on that. So after concluding this part of the meeting, it is customary to take a short break. So if you need a short break, raise your hand. We're taking one anyway. All right, most people could use a break. So, Mr. President, shall we say 10 minutes? 10 minutes. So I was about to share the time with you, but I realized that I'm on a different time zone. So right now, at least in Singapore, it's 10:24. Did I get this right? Is it 10:24 in Singapore?
Yes.
All right. So could we get everybody back in the room at 10:34?
35. 35 is easier.
11 minutes then. You got an extra minute there for Mr. President. All right. Please be back in 11 minutes at 35 past. So see you again in 10 minutes. 11. Welcome back, everyone. I know 11 minutes sometimes feels like a long time, but when it comes to taking a break, it does count as a short break. So while most of us are still catching our breath after rushing back to our seats, it is my pleasure to bring all of us together to the next meeting section, which involves giving prepared speeches. Now, a prepared speech represents an amount of work and time and dedication that the speakers have been putting for who? For themselves or for their audience. So since we are Toastmasters, everything we do has to do with bringing value from ourselves to you, our audience. So to introduce the first speaker, tonight's first speaker, Toastmaster Alicia, it is my pleasure to welcome here Evaluator Pallavi. Pallavi, can you hear us?
Yes, Panos.
The floor is yours.
I'm sorry, but I just joined right now, so I didn't hear the audio earlier. So is it my speech turn?
All right. Pallavi, could you evaluate Alicia's speech as, because well, we do it like this. I understand that it had not come to your attention that you were supposed to evaluate Alicia. So if you're up for it, then you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, we can always reshuffle the roles a little bit. This happens in the online world. Things are less tangible because they are virtual after all.
No worries, Panos, it's fine. I'll try my best. May I just have the speech details? Sorry, I missed it earlier.
Would it be okay then if I introduce Alicia's speech objectives and the speaker, and then in the next section, the evaluation section, you give your evaluation for Alicia? Would that be okay for you?
Perfectly fine, Panos. Perfectly fine. Thank you.
All right. Thank you too, Pallavi. In this case, it is my pleasure and honor to invite Alicia to the stage for her speech. Based on the Specialty Speeches Manual, project number 3, Sell a Product. Sell a Product. This is a 10 to 12 minute speech. At the timer point that he is aware of the peculiarity of the speech timing. Awesome, awesome. Alicia's objectives tonight from within this speech project is to use the 4 steps in a sales presentation: attention, interest, desire, and action. Attention, interest, desire, and action. Alicia shall identify and promote a unique selling proposition, or a USP, as they say in business, in a sales presentation. So fellow Toastmasters, help me welcome Toastmaster Alicia. Alicia, Mini Falcon, Alicia.
Give me a minute. I need to share my PowerPoint slide.
All right, is the Mini Falcon about to land?
Wait, the Mini Falcon is still flying around. Sorry, I'm using my mobile and I'm opening my PowerPoint slides.
As those of us that have been doing the online meetings a little bit longer, I believe nobody would disagree that there is a learning curve also when it comes to the use of technology. But believe me when I say that this pays out in many other uses. I will introduce you again, Alicia.
Sorry, Toastmaster of the evening. I have issue using my mobile. I cannot open the PowerPoint slide. It's not supported. So I have to open my other tablet. Perhaps you can we move to the other speaker first?
Sure.
So sorry about it.
Well, it happens, but maybe this costs you a sale or two tonight, Alicia, your sales speech.
Okay, so sorry. I leave this one and I open the other tablet. Sorry.
All right. Calling the IT support team. The IT support team, please report to Toastmasters Alicia. While we move on to tonight's second speaker, Hakim. Hakim's evaluator tonight will be Toastmaster Dennis Ham. Dennis, you're welcome to introduce Hakim's speech objectives.
Actually, I don't. Do you see Hakim in the queue though? I don't see him on screen.
Yeah, here
there
he
is. Right in
is.
the middle. Okay, right under you. Okay, got it. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, tonight Hakim is going to be giving a presentation out of the advanced manual Communicating on Television, and the timing is quite unique. He has a very limited and strict timing. It's supposed to be from 9 minutes and 30 seconds up to 10 minutes and 30 seconds. And his objective is to conduct a successful television interview, to understand the dynamics of a successful television interview or talk show, to prepare questions to ask during the interview program, and to present a positive, confident image on the television camera. And those are his objectives. Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dennis. Let us all welcome on stage Toastmaster Hakim. Hakim, making the homemaker, Hakim.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our show once again tonight, where we bring you people from all walks of life, featuring our TV program. Today we have a very special show entitled Making the Homemaker. And as you all know, some of the most challenging tasks and some of the most challenging occupations that we have around the world. Is it too soft? Hello? Can you hear me? Yes? No? Can?
It's overmodulated. It's too loud.
It's not loud. Is it too loud? Is it too loud?
The audio is slightly jarring. So
overmodulated.
not
able to hear, so we can hear, but the words are not coming clear.
Oh, okay. Let me see if this helps. Is this clearer? This is better. Okay, I'll use the headset then. Anyway, welcome back. Anticlimactic opening, but welcome back to Making of the Homemaker, a show where we feature ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And today, of course, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to feature some of the most special people, the people that make our homes, the people that make our life tick. And how many of you out there are privileged to have a homemaker in your home? Okay, oh yes, a couple of our live studio audience members, and I'm sure lots more people at home as well. So today we've got a very excellent specimen of a homemaker right beside me here, and she is none other than a person that has been running a home for the last 5 years. Some good experience, and she's coming on this show to share about her experiences and some of the things that perhaps that we do not really know about being a homemaker. So lots of experience, really qualified person, definitely more qualified than me. Let us put our hands together and welcome our star of tonight's show, Wiwi Najiha. Welcome to our show, Wiwi.
Thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to say to all our live audience members tonight? They've tuned in from all over the world to find out about this very special role, and you representing all those homemakers from all over the world as well.
My first son is 7 years old. I'm pretty sure I have done this for more than 5 years old. 5 years.
Okay. So she's got more experience than we think. Oh, that means she's really a perfect person to be on our show tonight. Now, we've got many questions from the audience that we polled before our show this evening. So I'm just going to get straight to it and open with this. Now, when we talk about homemakers, we tend to think that, what much can be done at home now, especially for people who are actually working. Home is where we go to relax, to unwind, to, for the lack of a better word, to do nothing. But so when we talk about homemakers, we tend to have this idea of someone who is relaxing a lot of times at home and, having it easy. This is a question that it's not from me, but a lot of the members, like for example Dennis and Panos, they have this very burning question. Yeah. So what do you say to that?
Oh, my husband always thinks that I am at home doing nothing. There were a few times where I actually show him the effects of doing nothing at home, and he always comes back in very shocked the effect and the state of the house when a homemaker does nothing.
Okay.
Definitely a homemaker does more than nothing.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe you could share with us, what's your typical day like? Say, do you start, when you wake up at about 10 a.m.?
10 a.m.
You cannot touch the hose, huh? Okay. Share with the audience members.
This homemaker wakes up earlier than the first person who needs to leave the house for work. She wakes up to switch off the alarm clock first, because no one will switch off the alarm clock. And then she will start to prepare breakfast. Oh, wait, this was 5:30, and then she will try to wake her husband up. I mean, there's an alarm clock, but it doesn't work for the husband. So she will wake up her husband, and she will follow up with this wake-up call to the husband about 15 minutes later. Yeah. And then she will wake up her son. She will move him from his bunk bed to the toilet for a 5 minute shower. It will be timed, because if it's not timed, that 5 minutes will be stretched to 15 minutes, and then everybody in the house will have to rush. So in the toilet, there is a stopwatch. For everyone who enters the toilet, they have only 5 minutes. Yes. And during that 5 minutes, I will get breakfast sorted out. I will make people who are not supposed to wake up like this one go back to sleep, because everybody has to sleep at their allotted time and wake up at their allotted time. If not, chaos will happen. So there is a lot of organizing happening. See, I'm only answering just the first few minutes of my day, and I'm taking so long to answer this. So I shall spare you the burden. Just in summary, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I can start to have a sense of your role as a homemaker here. Within the first 2 to 3 hours, it seems like you've already accomplished about 5 to 6 things. And I think if you are a typical employee, your boss will be very happy with your work. And I'm sure for someone who's doing such an important role in the house, how are you commensurated for all your efforts?
I wish I can give a much better answer to this than nothing. Other than the love and care and hug and endless thank you cards from my children. Okay, to spare my husband, he did treat me to sushi today before I had to come here and do this presentation.
I see.
So, yeah.
I see. Well, that sounds like...
I make sure that when he treat me for sushi, I will eat. I will eat a lot.
Oh, okay.
So thank you for that $100 treat today.
I see. It sounds like your husband is a very nice person. And if your husband is listening out there, I think you are expressing your gratitude to him. And I'm sure he'll be very happy to hear the affirmation. Yeah.
My husband look like that.
Is it? Okay, no. I mean, we've got a little bit more time. Perhaps, there are some people out there, I'm sure ladies and gentlemen as well, who are considering, for the benefit of having better homes to transit into a life as a homemaker. Now, what would you advise them, having had this experience for a couple of years?
In the past, they say to become a housewife, you don't have to study so much. But I object. To become a housewife in this day and age, study as high as you can. Reach all the dreams that you possibly can, and then stop. Just when you're about to get your latest promotion, stop your job. That is the best time, because that unfulfilled dream that you get from your workplace, that desire will be brought back to work and to home. And then you'll feel that there is some unfinished business. And that will be, oh my God, translated to all your work. That drive.
Wow. Well, seems that you are very passionate about this transition from working and being a homemaker. And I'm sure passion is one of the things that is really needed in this line.
Yeah. I remember my husband sharing with his bachelor friends, if you want to find someone who is like my wife, highly dependable. I think that's a very good compliment.
Wow, this husband of yours sounds really good. Maybe we should feature him in the next show.
Yeah.
Now we're running out of time for this evening. Perhaps just one a parting remark or closing statement with regards to homemakers out there, message to them, maybe some encouragement as well.
Ladies out there, life is more than just money. Don't worry. People will love you and they will buy things for you for free. Just do your work sincerely.
Okay, thank you very much. Lots of passion and emotion, and this is how we like to run our show. Raw, funny out there, spontaneous. So tune in next time for I'm not sure what we're gonna make. Maybe we're gonna meet Rick's husband and and continue this very exciting and interesting conversation. So over to you back at the studio. This is from us here in our bedroom. Okay.
I don't know what to say. My cheeks hurt from laughing so much. Oh my, who would have known that the secret to a successful relationship is sushi and studying? And in a way, well, let me tell you, in a way, having a light touch like you guys do, and I've had the pleasure to see you interact, I bet that all the rehearsing that you did for this speech, because you were on time and on point, it must have been a lot of fun. So congratulations to both of you. This was awesome. This was more than just a show. This was real. This was real. Fantastic. Thank you. Now we're gonna listen to another prepared speech. This time it will be from Toastmaster Mina. Let me first check if Mina is in the room.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, fantastic. Then, Mina, your evaluator tonight will be Toastmaster Thomas Chen, and it's my pleasure to give the floor to Thomas to introduce Mina's speech objectives.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Here is the objective. Humorous or dramatic material from sources other than personal experience. Adapt material to suit the topic, personality, and the audience. Use entertaining material to convey a serious message. All the best, Mina. Looking forward to your speech.
Thank you, Toastmaster Chen, in the role of Mina's evaluator. So let's all put our hands, our virtual hands together. Welcome, Toastmaster Mina. Mina, who is the liar? Who is the liar? Mina.
Hello, Toastmasters of the evening. Today, you'll be hearing a story from me, and you have to find out who the liar is in the story. So, far away in a very pleasant village, there lived a butcher. The butcher was the only breadwinner of the family. He earned just nice for the family to live with enough food for the day. One day, one bright sunny day, he went to the shop because it was a New Year's Eve, hoping that he would earn enough for the family's New Year Eve dinner. He went to the shop hoping that he would get enough money to feed the family a feast. Unfortunately, that day, being a New Year's Eve, there was nobody around the entire village. Nobody came out to buy the meat. He was hoping, and it was close to noon. There was a passerby at that time, a man carrying a big bag. The butcher called out to the man, "Hey man, do you want some meat?" The man replied, "Hey butcher, listen, I'm also a seller. I'm here to sell my oil in this big bag. So I won't need any meat." So he said that and he went into the village. The oil seller, the man, went to the village and he was trying to sell out the oil to the residents. Time passed and it already ticked 6 in the evening. The butcher was sad, sitting, haven't sold anything for the day, and very sad because he didn't have any money to feed his family the feast that the family wanted. The oilman passed back again through the shop. The butcher called out to the oilman, "Hey man, you're the only one I saw the entire day. Do you want some meat? I will give you on discount." The man denied and said, "No, no butcher, I don't need any meat for the day." Then he asked, "How was your sales today, oilman?" The oilman replied, "Yeah, I had a very nice sale. Being a New Year's Eve, everyone wanted the oil to start the new year with something. I don't know, but everybody bought the oil. I have emptied my bag. See, I have a full bag of collection." The butcher was surprised and he was shocked and some little bit of annoyed because the oilman made his sales. So the oilman asked him, "See, butcher, I have to travel a long way to my house. So can I use your restroom?" The butcher said, okay, you can go. You can leave all your bags here, go refresh a bit and have something inside. This is my house in here. The oilman went inside, and in the meantime, the butcher was ready to close his shop and was ready to go away home also. But coming out, the oilman found that his bag of money was empty. Then they both were left with a quarrel. People around the village came up and tried to resolve the issue, but they couldn't. Both the oilman and the butcher said, no, I made the sales and the money was mine. The oilman said, no, I made the entire sale. See, my oil bag is empty and it is my money. Both were quarreling like this, and one of the guys suggested, okay, let's go to the court of Akbar and Birbal. Akbar and Birbal, for your knowledge, is one of the very common, very popular chief justice in the stories of India. So Akbar and Birbal's court was there, and they went there. So they went there, and Akbar said, "Birbal, come on, you have to solve this case. Birbal is the most genius minister of this court." So they agreed, and Birbal asked for his consort to bring a pot of water. Then Birbal put the coins inside the water and said, okay, now I know who is the liar. Now the question is to you, who is the liar? The oilman or the butcher? See, the oilman's story is that he sold the oil and got the money, but nobody knows whether he had the oil or not. The butcher said, I sold everything and I got the money, but the oilman is complaining because he is envying. Now, who is the liar? Okay, guesses apart, keep guessing. I will tell you, the butcher is the liar. And how Birbal found it is because he dropped the coins in the pot of water and there was a thin layer of oil on top of water. As you know, oil is will not resolve into water. So the oil was floating on top of the water surface, and that's how Birbal found that the butcher was the liar and the money was oilman's. He explained that the oilman soulfully sold all the oil and got the money with the same hands which he used to pour the oil out, and that's how the coins were oiled. And that's how Birbal found the true person and the liar are. With this story, we have a learning and a takeaway to do. Don't lie or don't react to situations. Don't be a prey to situations. You will be caught one day. Remember before you say anything, remember before you commit a mistake, there is somebody who can find your mistake, even though you think that you are very clever. With that, back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mina. Don't lie. What is lying? Don't hide the truth, even if you think you are good at it. Rascals are always found out in the end. So now we're going to move on to the next speaker, Toastmaster Hiran. Hiran's evaluator is Toastmaster Naveen let's first check, since Naveen's camera is off, unfortunately, let's check if he's still around in the virtual world. Naveen, can you hear us? There you go. We can see and hopefully also hear Naveen in a few seconds.
Hey, what's up? Hey, morning. I mean, good evening, everyone. So, here in your project is to prepare a report on a situation, event, or problem of interest to the audience. Deliver sufficient factual information so this on a sound on the report. Hello.
Okay, a small remark about the connection quality from your end, Naveen. It's slight.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, the technical issues.
All right, a small tip. When you do your evaluation near the end of the meeting, do work out some magic so that you can get a better connection perhaps for those 3 minutes, all right? But for the time being, let's put ourselves together to welcome on stage Toastmaster Hiren for his speech. Hiren, when she shops, he drops. When she shops, he drops. Toastmaster Hiren. Hiren, we can't hear you. We still can't hear you.
All right. So before I start, just a quick check if you are able to see my slide and things are in order. So just to display, yes, perfect. All right. So let me go in and because the mic for my evaluator was jarring. So today I'm going to do a fact-finding report to you all. And the inspiration, so the day and the timing is just right because my friend Hakim has just done a fantastic interview on the homemaker, and what a lovely couple and what a lovely pair they are. So I think this just fits in nicely. It's a different and a quirky research that generally you see, because there are a lot of thoughts that came to my mind in terms of what should be the research output that I should be presenting. So I thought, let me try and something different. But before that, before I begin, let me start with a statutory warning that what you're going to see now on the screen is solely for my presentation purpose and for my Toastmaster presentation. It is, if there is a friction in the relationship with you and your partner because of this research, then the presenting Toastmaster is by no way responsible. So that's a little funny note I want to start in, but please take this research with a pinch of salt. Though it is very, very relevant, but a statutory warning that the presenting Toastmaster is not responsible for if it hampers your relationship. So let's begin. So the genesis of this, research comes from this important book, or very popular book from John Gray's, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. And if people have not read the book, it talks about how two sexes differ in terms of perspective, in terms of motivational rationales and action. Now today, by way of this research presentation, I want to add a chapter into John Gray's book, and that's all about the shopping behavior of both. So I think he's not considered this in his book, but I am, through this research, making an attempt on how shopping matters, and that's why my title, that while she shops, he drops. So that's my tagline, and it all begins. So where it all begins, and again, like I do in all my presentation, a little bit of science, a little bit of biology, And if you take a cross section of a female and a male brain, you will find the difference. So if you see these two diagrams that are there in the picture, that you will find that the midline, or that thick gray line that goes between the two figures, is that is that corpus callosum, as they say it, which connects the two parts of the brain. So a female brain, the left and the right brain, has more thicker connection. So it's like a thicker bridge than a male brain. Now, what does this imply? It implies that, when you talk about female brain, they are able to multitask, or they're able to swing between either a left and right side, whereas male has, because the nerve is smaller, it has more centered approach, or it has more left brain orientation than both sides. Now, how does this all culminate into a shopping behavior? So these are some of the key findings with this research. So one is, of course, that when they go out for a shopping, and this of course is true for with my wife as well, is that men go with a mission. I want to buy 1, 2, 3. They will go into the store and come out. Whereas women, shopping is more of a journey. So they would swing between stores. They would swing between sections, from a perfume section to a clothing section to a technology section to a grocery section and out. Whereas for men, it is more of a mission. So what happens is that men, generally look at facts, data, research in terms of what they want to buy, where will they get it, and just go in. Whereas for females, it is all about the emotions, because, how does this fit? What does the color go in? What's my mood today? So everything would swing in. So from a fact-based approach on one end to an emotion-based approach on the other end. So that's why what happens is that women, prefer to hunt, whereas for men, it should be a quick, effortless process. I know which sections I have to go to, what I have to buy, the list, and plug out. That's another part of the research that comes in. Here are some more facts, but while I'm not reading the table, but it shows that research has suggested, and again, this is an Amazon research as well, that women like to apply more discounts and coupons, whereas men would like to swing in or just go with what is available and go on. Other is that women are, men are more brand loyal, whereas, women like more service. So again, comes on from the various research. And what's more interesting that we found is that, men get bored in 26 minutes, whereas women would like to not get bored in 2 hours. And again, this comes in from the data. I'm not going to read from the slide, but, 8 out of the 10 men hate shopping, or 1 out of 4 men simply go home without the partner when they get bored. So again, all of these are global data that I'm talking. And these are some of the reasons what I've found that what men do when they go shopping. So I'm not going to read through the slide, but point number 4 and 5 is very important. That generally when men get bored, they go out of the store and admire attractive strangers. Yeah. Or the 5th one, when they let loose, they go out, get food or drink. So again, a huge difference on how men and women operate. So again, part of the research. So I have to conclude by saying that, let's try and respect each other's, brain, because that's what it is engraved in the biology, and, appreciate each other and appreciate that men are from Mars and women are from Venus. So let's not try and force a habit on the opposite sex. With that, I conclude my section, but I open the floor for any questions about my research that the audience would have. So any questions? I know it has shaken a bit in terms of some people are smiling, some people are in a shock, but this is, again, as I said, take it with a pinch of salt. It is the research.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
All right, you mentioned 26
I
minutes.
just want to ask you.
26 minutes for the average man to get bored in a shopping situation that is perhaps unattractive or undesirable, that does sound like a lot of time to me.
So
when
again,
I'm bored. 26.
This is global data. You know, for me, it is even lesser. You know, honestly, if I were to put, it is 16 or 6 minutes.
I feel you, brother. I'm closer to 6 minutes myself. So could this, my question to you is, could this be interpreted perhaps as a positive sign as to the existence of a trend towards an increase in male patience?
Absolutely. And when I was transcribing this data into the slides, I actually double read through whether 26 minutes is the correct data. Have I not read it? So that's the way it is. But as I said, I think time is running out, but I have to conclude by saying that please don't take it as a pinch of salt, and the presenting Toastmaster is not responsible for outcomes that you would have with your partner as a part of this research. With that, back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, thank you. Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed that the natural advantage that women have when it comes to multitasking would show up in the example of shopping, talking about natural selection in the setting of shopping. Men cannot compete with that. I am living proof of this. So women are superior in many ways, including shopping. I would have never guessed. Right now, moving on to the next speaker, we will experience one of those beautiful moments in Toastmasters where the previous speaker becomes the evaluator for the next speaker. So right now, Toastmaster Hiren is gonna wear a different hat, the evaluator hat, and will serve his fellow Toastmaster, Toastmaster Pallavi, as her evaluator. So the floor is yours again, Toastmaster Hiren. Please introduce Pallavi's objectives. We can't hear you.
Okay, no, my sincere apologies that I didn't know I'm evaluating Pallavi, but I'm happy to do so. So if Pallavi, if you could read in the objectives itself, and I will definitely do my best to do the evaluation. But I have not seen my phone if the messages have landed, but happy to do the evaluation.
All right, then in this case, I'm happy to introduce the speech objectives for Pallavi's speech. And then we will return to you, Toastmaster Hiren, for your verbal evaluation for Pallavi. Tonight, Pallavi will be giving us a speech based on the Entertaining Speaker Manual. This seems to be rather popular, and that will be project number 3. And the title of the project is Make Them Laugh. I never seem to get enough of that. Make them laugh, 5 to 7 minute speech, and we can expect a humorous speech from Pallavi's own experience. Part of her objectives is to adapt and personalize humorous material from outside sources. And Pallavi will deliver her speech, making the humor effective. Help me welcome on stage Toastmaster Pallavi. Think out of the box. Think out of the box, Toastmaster Pallavi.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Before the timer starts, I would just like to check, am I audible enough? There is no jarring or any disturbance? Okay, good to go. Thank you. Okay, good evening, fellow Toastmasters from across the world. And I think my speech today already has an entertaining platform from my evaluator just a while ago. And I would just like to quote a small quotation which just popped up into my mind was, destination is not important, rather the journey is what matters the most. And we being women enjoy the journey, and in this journey, we come across certain experiences and instances which compel us to think out of the box. So today, as all of you know, I'm going to talk about thinking out of the box. I would just ask one question to all of you. Imagine a young person named Newton sitting under a tree on whose head an apple dropped. Now, if it would have been any common person like me, you, or rather just to infuse a bit of humor, what would a Singaporean man do if that apple dropped on his or her head? Probably the person would have moved aside and queued up next to the apple. Next, what would an Indian guy do if the apple would have dropped on his or her head? Probably the Indian guy would have picked up the apple and threw it back to from where it had dropped. But fun aside, many a times in our life, it is very important to come out of the comfort zone, push ourselves to that uncomfortable position, take some risk, and think out of the box to get desired outcome. And I think just because of this thinking out of the box, many people, rather all the successful people that we have in front of us, for instance, right from Warren Buffett to Steve Jobs, every famous person, they have success just because they think out of the box. Now, to quote a real example, I'll just share a small incident that I had with my son. My son, when he was 4 years old, I was teaching him maths. And while teaching him maths, I said, Ishan, there is a tree, and on the tree there are 3 birds sitting. And if a hunter shoots one of the bird, what happens? So with all my pictorial depiction and looking at me carefully, Ishan said, Mama, none would be left. I said, Ishan, focus. On a tree, there are 3 birds. The hunter shot one of the bird. How many left? How many left? So how many left? So I gave him all the indications, but he said, Mama, it has to be none. I said, how come, Ishan? There are 2 birds left. He said, no, Mama, think. When the hunter shot one bird, the other 2 flew off because they were scared. And to my shock, I was taken aback. That yes, if you think out of the box, it's quite correct. And to relate that same incident, and rather to let me know thinking out of the box, he asked me, okay, Mama, now your turn. I will ask you a question and you give me the answer. I said, okay. He said, Mama, now listen. In a park, there is a bench. And on the bench, there are 3 ladies sitting. Mama, there are 3 ladies sitting. One was talking quietly on her phone. The second was weeping on the phone. And the third was shouting on the phone. Now you tell, out of these 3 women, who was married, Mama? And I was taken in a shock and a bit of embarrassment. And as per the general conception of the thought, I said with a bit of hindrance, I said, son, the lady who was shouting and yelling on the phone is probably the one who's married. He said, no, Mama, you are wrong. Think again. I said, beta, only married women can shout. They have kids to shout on. They've got their hubbies to shout on. So it's quite obvious the woman shouting on the phone is the one who's married. He said, no, Mama, you got to think out of the box. The woman having the wedding ring is the one who's married. So ladies and gentlemen, with this, I would like to say that in our life, there are several examples which tells us that we should think out of the box and not going far. I would say if Newton can do it, and very, very close to us, if Willie Lowe can do it, thinking out of the box and providing us a platform where we can come every week, spend hours and hours to complete our project reports, to get an world over scenario, to interact with different people, to get to know various people, to learn various speaking styles and get to know different viewpoints. Everyone can do it. It's just that it is important that we should overcome our fear, step into the unknown, and take the risk. So what are we waiting for? Here I would say my favorite management guru from India, Shiv Khera, has said, winners never do things different. They do things differently. And thinking out of the box compels you to do the things differently and make your own position in the world. So your power or our power is in our radical self. We need to find it. I request all of you to go and find your radical self. Thank you so much. Over to you, Toastmasters of the day.
Who here feels after listening to Pallavi's speech that you have the power? All right, all right, all right. This was not just about the number of hands that showed. This was about the speed and intensity that the hats popped up, and there were a lot of them. Now we shall move on to the next speaker, yours truly. And the speech evaluator for the next speaker will be Toastmaster Kelvin Leon. Kelvin.
Hi, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Good evening, everybody. Yours is the public relations number 5, is it correct? Yes. The crisis management speech to communicate about a company crisis that builds and maintains a positive image for the company. Answer questions in a manner that reflects positively on the company. Is that right? Yes? Okay, go for it, man.
Short note, the timer, please time 4 minutes, and then there's going to be a 4-minute question and answers. Feel free to ask me anything related to the speech. Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening, for giving me this opportunity to be here among you tonight to admit that we, as Toastmasters, the organization that we represent and value, unfortunately, lately, we are failing to fulfill our promise to you. There has been a series of events that keeps us from putting ourselves out there for you in a meaningful way because of the outbreak of the coronavirus. While we have been doing our best for years to inspire you, to motivate you, to make you feel welcome to join the club meetings at physical locations, it is unfortunate, and I'm put in the dire position to share with you that at the moment, we do not have the possibility to offer you this option, to make this option available to you as much as we wish. And we as Toastmasters would like to claim full responsibility for this situation because we were simply not ready for it. When it comes to the scenarios that we had put forward in our risk management team, in order to provide the optimal club experience to each and every one of you, this was not part of it. This was news to us as well. Now, having said that, there's a couple of things that I would like to add as to what Toastmasters can do for you and what you as members, as individuals, what you can do to serve the Toastmasters community with your individual contribution. What Toastmasters is now doing for you is inviting you to the online world, to the online experience. Now in Toastmasters, we take pride in creating a safe environment, psychologically safe, for all of us to find our voice, our speaking voice, by using it. Now, through the use of online meetings, we're also creating a physically safe space for all of us to keep practicing our craft, our speaking craft. And what can we do for Toastmasters? We can do 3 things at the face of the current crisis. Number 1, keep exercising our critical thinking. Present the information that we've all been collecting from the media fallout, which can be argued that the media fallout has been larger than the coronavirus, than the impact of the coronavirus itself. Keep using your critical thinking skills to make sure that we manage the stigma associated with the virus. We've all heard the cases that the people that contracted the virus get stigmatized. We as Toastmasters have the capacity to control this through our critical thinking and the way we know how the facts are presented objectively. Number 2, let's see what we can learn from this situation. Let's see how we can use technology to assist us. Let's see how we can support each other through it. Which brings us to number 3. What can we do for our physical clubs? How can we help them achieve their speech objectives? How can we be there for our fellow Toastmasters? How can we continue to do our good work at the face of this adversity? I challenge all of you not to give up on the mission at the face of the current crisis, but to come out stronger from it, more adapted. And this will give strength to our community. And this begins with each and every one of us now. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening. We now have 3 to 4 minutes for questions, and I do expect some questions. So no pointing fingers, but it will be a pleasure to receive questions. Angela, go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. I would like to know what you think we should be doing, if we should be putting pressure on Toastmasters International to allow online meetings and contests in the current situation, because in Singapore we've been told to wait for the red alert, but some clubs are not happy about this.
This is an excellent question, Toastmaster Angela. I believe that now, because of the current situation, there is added leverage in the negotiation. So the more physical meetings keep being cancelled, or they don't have to be cancelled, just that the participation rate will be slower, will be less than expected, less than optimal, then this can be used as an argument to be raised with Toastmasters International, the headquarters. And that is part of the positive spin on the matter, that it is sometimes that crisis unites us and becomes the fuel for change. So I envision the current crisis as speeding things up when it comes to recognizing the value of the online work we do in Toastmasters. I'm very happy to take more questions.
So this just segues what Angela has asked, in fact it is as you know that we have a deadline of June 2020 to finish our old track. And with the virus issue, a lot of clubs would be missing on meetings. People would not be coming. It is also advisable to give that note Toastmaster International to probably have a 6 months extension to the deadline, because some of them would be blessed to have their life to to open an online Toastmaster club or infrastructure, internet and bandwidth is low, so conferences like this cannot happen. I think it would be good to engage with the Toastmaster International as well.
Thank you for raising this excellent point, Hiren. Toastmasters International can use this opportunity, it's a leadership opportunity after all, and lead by example by adapting their plans. So I see value in setting a hard deadline, especially when it comes to communicating change. As we have all experienced, we changed from the legacy, now called legacy education system, to the new system. However, any leader worthy of following is a leader that reads the situation and, as was said earlier, recognizes the needs of those in his or her charge before they even get to the level of spilling over into unsatisfaction. So if there are enough voices, in my opinion, that raise this issue of a deadline extension with Toastmasters International, I have faith in the fact that they will listen to it and respond. And I'm very happy to take more questions about this during the break. We have to conclude this speech at this point, and thank you all for your engagement in the Q&A section. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening. Thank you. Thank you all. Now I'm wearing a different hat, so I am back to being the Toastmaster. And on a more smiling note, which I was looking forward to, because maybe the crisis is not over, but the speech about the crisis is over. It is my pleasure to introduce the next evaluator, which is Toastmaster Mina, for evaluating Shanshan's speech. Mina, let's check first if Shanshan is here. Shanshan, can we get to see you?
Yep.
There you go. All right. So Toastmaster Mina, the floor is yours for introducing Shanshan's speech.
Hello Toastmasters. Today Shanshan will be speaking about her competition speech. The timing is 5 to 7 minutes. Although there is no objective for the speech, I will be evaluating as per the competition rules. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. So exciting that we're gonna hear a speech that is focused as a competition speech. So help me welcome our next speaker on stage, our next contestant, Shanshan, growing up, Shanshan.
Now, how many of you have grown up in the 80s and watched into the millennium? How many of you are like grew up in the 80s, studied in the 90s, and then watched the 2000 year appear in your time frame? Yep, I see many of the hands coming up. Yep. Okay, and it also reveals my age because that is the era that I grew up in. All right, so that is the age of the 80s, 80s kids and the 90s kids. And yep, recently I just shared a photo of myself online at the age of, 1988, that will be the age of 6 years old. Time flies, huh? Now, how many of you have experienced this? Girl, are you studying? Yeah, I'm studying on the computer. Yes, I'm studying on the computer. Yes, I am looking up facts on the computer. Shouldn't you be reading an encyclopedia? Why are you using your computer? Encyclopedia is much more useful than a computer. But that computer gives the information much more faster than you get it from the encyclopedia, because you need to look for the exact encyclopedia to look for the facts. Unless you have a book of facts of extraordinary facts. I have no idea where that book comes from. And however, when your dad tells you to study a book instead of using a computer, he thinks that we are not studying, we are just playing on a computer, because computer is meant for playing, not for studying. And what comes to mind is tiger parents. How many of you have this mindset that tiger parents, and how many of you have really experienced tiger parents? Meaning they breathe down your necks and ask you to study. So from day and night, after you come home from school, you also study. Night before you go to bed, have you studied yet? Yes. Have you revised your thing for school? Yes. So tiger parents usually, and I say this with a pinch of salt because my mom is actually nearby. Yep, I have the response from my mom with a laughter. All right. Well, my mom says yes, she heard that we actually call her a tiger parent. So next time when you do a speech, don't do it in the living room where your mom or your dad is next to you. Well, that shows the generation gap actually, because in fact, until now, how many of you actually owns more than one phone? Or how many of you actually owns more than two to three phones, and you're using 2 to 3 phones? I know of someone who doesn't have a mobile phone at all. Not even pager, no mobile phones. So once he leaves the house, we just have to wait for him to come home. And I call him a dinosaur because he is literally a T-Rex, where he'll breathe down your neck, asking you to study, asking you to stop playing on the computer, asking you to eat your dinner, and compare you with all the relatives of the studies, academics. Whether who has got the best score, who has gotten to the best class, who has gotten to the better schools, and all that. So tiger parents, they start to compare among the children. Enough of parents. Now we go to something that is interesting. Before mobile phones, what do we have? Before mobile phones, we have pagers. And how many of you remember codes that you see on your pagers? And once it beeps, what do? Run to the nearest landline and pick up the phone and call that person that contacted you on your pager. Now, what are the codes that you all remember? 07734 means hello. 143 means I love you. 607 means I miss you. I actually forgot all the codes, but this is just a few codes that came into my mind. And when you see the number that flashes on your pager, first thought, is it urgent or is it not urgent? How can you tell? You can't tell, right? So what you do? Run straight to the landline, call the number and say, oh, hi, is this urgent? I received a page. Is this urgent thing or is this not urgent thing? The person will reply, it's urgent, it's not urgent, and they'll start to talk. But I had a conversation
where my friend paged me, see the number, nah, it's not urgent, I'll just wait for a while. The next thing I know, an hour later, the phone rang, the landline rang, and my friend said, hey, why didn't you pick up? Why didn't you call me back when I paged you? It's urgent, meh? Because you never specify it's urgent, ma. You just paged me with that little message that says hello only. So I thought it's not urgent. Like that also can. That is the response that my friend has when he says it's not urgent. With pagers, how can you tell it's urgent or not? Now, with mobile phones, the moment you did not reply a WhatsApp, a WeChat, or a message, the message will keep on coming. You will receive tens of thousands of messages, and the message will read, reply me, reply me. How many of you have experienced this? You don't reply one message, 2 or 3 messages will come up and says, please reply. So, ladies and gentlemen, to conclude this era of growing up, where pagers and computers have a different meaning to parents, what I want to say is, growing up sometimes can be very tricky. It can be also very fun. Thank you. Back to you, Panos.
Sunshine, you took us on a journey. This was the whole experience. And let me tell you, I've never analyzed it in this depth. It was an eye-opening moment when you said, who has 1 phone, who has 2 phones, who has 3 phones? I don't have a third hand to raise. So perhaps this is an area of my life that I might choose to take more control of. It's probably controlling me more than what I control it. So thank you for bringing us to this awareness. Now we have one more speech tonight. That was supposed to be the first speech. And now, having moved this to the last speaking slot because of the technical issues, I expect the anticipation in the room to have built up to such a level that we all put our hands together to welcome Toastmaster Alicia for her speech, Sell a Product. Toastmaster Alicia, Mini Falcon. Mini Falcon, Toastmaster Alicia.
All right, give me a minute. I need to share my file. Where's the timer?
Toastmaster Rong Lee is the timer, and we give you another minute, Alicia. It might be, if the PowerPoint doesn't work again, I'm gonna give you the challenge of selling us a product without a PowerPoint, a PowerPointless presentation.
Give me a minute, I'm trying to share my PowerPoint slide.
All right. All right, while Alicia is doing that, I would like to ask the evaluators to message me directly in case one of you has a commitment, or in case in your part of the world it is much, much later than what you thought it would be at this point in time in the meeting. and in case you have to put your kids to bed, and for all those obvious reasons, if there is a reason that you would like to, let's say, jump the queue when it comes to giving your evaluation, then send me a message and we're happy to accommodate that, because we are aware that somewhere around the globe, with all the friends that are now meeting online, it's about 1 a.m. So we can do the best to accommodate that. Thank you. Do send me a message. Oh, did I just see a mini falcon fly by? I'm pretty sure it was a mini falcon. You know, it was like a falcon, but it was, you know, mini falcon. Because if this,
I'm sorry. I have my sincere apology. I have problem connecting.
Which device?
No, I'm using Surface. My Surface Pro.
Surface Pro.
Share. I can't seem to open my my document in the.
Alicia, you're using Surface, right?
Yeah.
Thomas, you can help.
Alicia, would it be possible for you to give your speech without using your PowerPoint?
Oh, cannot.
Or would you like
use PowerPoint?
Thomas, support Thomas.
Surface
Pro.
iPad Air. Surface Pro was quite problematic, not that user friendly.
Oh.
Yeah. Currently, I'm using iPad also.
I see.
Okay.
So something you can consider doing is to switch to perhaps a laptop or something. Then you show us the Surface Pro as the slide, so we can still see your face lah.
Alicia, you share in the chat to me. I share it on my screen.
Sorry?
You share the slide to Willie. Then
okay. But how do I
on
share
the chat? On the chat, send the file to me.
Private chat.
Okay.
Send on our WhatsApp chat.
No, you can send through the chat as well.
Your Zoom chat.
We do the following.
Okay.
We will do the following. Okay. When taking care of the flow of the meeting and making the best use of everyone's time, we shall take our break now for exactly
5 minutes.
9 minutes. All right. Make sure the presentation is working, and then we come back from the break. We get to listen to Alicia's speech and then the evaluation. Okay.
All right.
Are we all on board? Okay.
Yeah.
Meet you in 8 minutes. Now it's 8 minutes. From there, Alicia, you start presenting, all right? And then we go straight into the evaluation, as if it was an evaluation contest, given very little time. All right, I'm happy to start whenever you're ready.
Really? Go ahead.
Well, welcome back, everyone. After our short break, the good news is that all technical issues have been resolved. The even better news is that the evaluations will follow shortly, and the best news is that we look forward to one more exciting speech tonight. So without further ado, help me welcome Toastmaster Alicia with your speech. Alicia, Mini Falcon, Alicia.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening, Panos. A very good evening to club president, members and guests. Tonight, I'll be trying to sell the Mini Falcon, the e-scooter that fits in a backpack. That's me, you can see with a backpack. That was me 4 years ago when I became the tourist within my own country. I explored Singapore's urban landscape, and I walked a lot. And I walked a lot on shared bicycle tracks. And I found it very inefficient because it took such a long while to walk and reach destinations and made me very tired. And I was thinking, as a tourist within my own country, could I fit something into my backpack so that I can travel better, further, faster, and more efficient? So for 4 years, I looked for something that could help me in this quest. And finally, I discovered an e-scooter that fits in a backpack. And so I could bring it along with my travels within my own country. Next slide, please. And this Mini Falcon can even help me to explore further beyond Singapore and the world over. So just let us have a short mini overview of the Mini Falcon. It's the first portable high-performance e-scooter. It has a 2-hour fast-charging, long-lasting battery. And it can take on up to 220 pounds heavyweight person. And you have kinetic energy recovery system. Plus, high efficiency shock absorber, dual rear brake technology, puncture-proof tires, and a quick view digital display. Next. So, as a tourist within my own country, after I discovered this e-scooter, I'm so happy. You can see me turning and being happy to find an e-scooter that is small enough to fit into my backpack. And this Mini Falcon fills the gap of what the present e-scooters we have. Let's take a look at the present e-scooters available in the market. Most of them are heavy and bulky. Some range from 12 kilogram to above 20 kilogram, massive. And because it's heavy, it really takes up a lot of space. And due to the size, sometimes there's safety issues. I almost got knocked off by those giant e-scooters before. Plus, with such big e-scooters, if you park them outside, it's easily stolen. And a lot of them, the design is not reliable. And it will give you a lot of issues due to weak battery, unreliable brakes. Then comes in the Mini Falcon, which stands out because of 3 main benefits. First, it's super compact. And it's super portable. Secondly, it's fast and powerful. And third, is safe and dependable. So let me go further into the 3 main features of the Mini Falcon. The first feature, super compact. As you can see, it can be folded so small. So small, 60 cm. And when it's open up, it can stand up to 115.5 centimeters. Next slide. Now, to open up and set up the Mini Falcon, it's as simple as ABC, just 3 steps. Obviously, we use the handlebars. No, we first push up the scoping shaft with 3x extendable pole. Then after that, we open up the 2 handlebars, and there we have. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, sorry, back to the other slide. Right. Just as it's so easy to set up, it's also very easy to close or put your Mini Falcon back into your backpack. Another 3-step process. As you can see, you can just push down the telescopic handles, then the main shaft, and there it goes back into your backpack. Next slide, please. So this Mini Falcon is made up of aerospace grade anodized aluminum, so which makes it extremely strong and lightweight. Even though it's small, it's super strong. And this lighter weight lets it quickly help you accelerate and quickly stop in a notice, while the material strength lets Mini Falcon hold up to 220 pounds with 0 deformity. Next slide. The second feature that is very good is that it's fast and powerful. It comes with this 250 watts brushless, noiseless motor. So with this noiseless motor, you can scoot with breeze fast without being disturbed by the big motor hubs of other kinds of e-scooters out there. So you get faster, stronger accelerations, better hill climbs, and in fact, it can go up to 15 miles per hour. Next slide. Sometimes you need to go uphill or downhill. So Mini Falcon was one of the earliest scooters to introduce adjustable speed gears. You can change gears for optimal power distribution in different road conditions. For instance, if you need to go up hills, then you use the low speed gear. And then you can switch to a high speed gear to fly through open roads. And as you can see, next to the gear, there's also a digital display that shows clearly and easily shows all the essential information in real time. So you don't need to look at your phone anymore. Just see your life speed, battery life, gear position, and even mileage in a single glance while you ride. Next slide. Now, the last area that Mini Falcon really excels in is reliability. One area of reliability is they provide puncture-proof tires. Now, how often have we gone out on our rides with fear that our tires will puncture? Now you don't have to worry because we have chosen polyurethane for Mini Falcon tires. And this makes them 4 times wear resistant and chemical resistant as compared to those rubber tires out there. Now, you have no more worries about glass, nails, or sharp pebbles. Just go ride smoothly with peace of mind. Next slide. And on top of it, while you're sometimes riding over humps or bumps, Mini Falcon has hidden shock absorbers. And these hidden shock absorbers are dual high efficiency, both in the front and at the back. This shock absorber is a special spring, specially designed to effectively absorb bumps and smooth out your ride, and reduce vibrations, glide over bumps, so that you can experience a more comfortable ride. So at this point, I'd like to let everyone know that we use high quality parts and also follow strict quality inspection procedures to make our e-scooter. And another point of reliability is the brake system. We have dual brakes. In fact, we are using electric brake that is on the handlebar, as well as a manual brake that's at the rear of the e-scooter. So this allows everyone to enjoy immediate quick stop with the manual brakes or electric brakes, while maintaining full control for ultimate safety. Now, no more skidding or close calls. And you can stop on a dime without losing control. This ABS anti-locking system also prevents your wheels from locking up and to maintain better steering control. Next slide. Of course, when you're out on your long journey as a tourist or just for leisure or work, one of the more important features is batteries. Here we have long-lasting batteries, and our batteries here are well protected, and it incorporates 8 features, as you can see on the slide. And not to worry, you will not have this issue of overburning, overcharging and exploding, because our Mini Falcon is UL 2272 certified. Next slide, please. In fact, the Mini Falcon comes with a normal battery, but you can buy an extra higher booster battery so that you can travel from one end of Singapore, from Tampines all the way to Jurong with no issue, or even, as the map says, from San Diego to Belmont Park, 8.7 miles without charging. Next slide. So in a nutshell, the Mini Falcon is small yet innovative. As you can see, there's so much innovation built into this small, tiny Mini Falcon. Telescopic steering pole, digital display, rear brake technology, kinetic energy recovery system, or this system allows you to increase your battery power while on the move. So much is in this small little e-scooter. Next slide. That's why I'm very confident to say that this is the best way to transit. To transit from your home to office and from your office to home, or from the MRT or sub to your office and back. Next slide. All while you are out traveling, you can put your mini falcon even in the canoe there, but don't let it drop out of the canoe. Next slide. Now is the time most of you will be thinking, how much will it cost? Just take a look at the various mode of transport. For cars, it will cost you $6,000 per year. For Uber, Grab, it will cost $4,400 per year. If you rent a scooter, it will cost you $2,400 per year. But the Mini Falcon only costs $499 Sing dollars, a one-time payment. Next. So these are the technical specs of the Mini Falcon that I'm presenting to everyone. It is also very light, 17.85 pounds, and only takes 2 to 3 hours to charge. Next. Now, I'm encouraging everyone to click at this link to buy. The normal price was $499, and because of the coronavirus, we now have this special 20% offer where you can grab a Mini Falcon for just $399, and hurry, this offer is valid for only 24 hours. Call me or email me or click this link, whichever works for you. So I have to share with everyone, don't be like me 4 years ago. No need to walk. Don't even walk. You can fly like the Mini Falcon. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you. Speech. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed with technical details. There were parts that I felt like an engineer. There were parts that I felt like you on the street. I mean, lots of pictures and images there. But what's important to remember: if you can walk, walk. But if you can fly, then fly. This brings us to the evaluation section of our meeting tonight. And we're gonna start the round of evaluations with Pallavi, who will catch her breath first after listening to Alicia's speech, and then we'll put her skills to the test by giving an oral evaluation right after the end of the speech, before we wave you good night, Pallavi. So the floor is yours if you're ready to start.
Okay,
Welcome.
just a second, check. Audible? Okay, first of all, good evening everyone once again, and applaud to Alicia for her persistent effort. Despite of the struggle, she was there, unstoppable, just like a Mini Falcon, not giving up. Okay, so for your unique selling proposition, I would evaluate with USP, that is ultimate success, and then finally promote. So what was the ultimate thing in your speech was attention. You used your personal story to start off, to kick off the project, which was really good. And why? Because when you use your own personal instances, it builds to the credibility. So somewhere the buyer develops a trust. Second is, okay, the another ultimate thing was like to develop the interest. You mentioned a lot, many of key details about the product. I think at least 8 of them were enumerated over there, and that was a bit overwhelming. So I'll go with my pros and cons hand in hand at some places. And then, okay, when you talk about the desire, how did you arouse the desire in the buyer? Okay, the best thing that I liked about that, or the success factor in that particular desire arouse, was the comparison that you gave with your gap fillings. And the best part was that you were very detailed with respect to the bullet that you had used for the gap fillings, that was red and yellow. My another suggestion over here, hand to hand, is red and yellow. Instead of red and yellow, red was good. You were comparing the previous version or the previous e-scooters. What you could do that now to support your Mini Falcon was to use a green one. That is, you are showing it a green chip that yes, you should and you must take it. And then later on, to further develop the desire in the buyer, you had come up with several features: super compact, 3-step folding, 60 centimeter length, strong and durable, 220 pounds, and zero like deformity, 250 watt brushless motor, and speed, and a whole lot of reliability with respect to electric brake, shock breaker, and battery life. That was really commendable, and too many things to list one after another. Okay, and then a lot of pictorial support to the buyer to understand each and everything in quite a lot of detail. So overall, it was a good and successful attempt to sell off Mini Falcon. Now, what I would suggest you to add on to promote the further selling of the particular product is, firstly, the first slide didn't have any tagline. Rather, you ended up with don't walk, fly, not walk. I suggest this particular tagline with Mini Falcon should be there in the first screen also, because not only the name of the product, but the tagline speaks volume about it. Secondly, you could come up with the features in such a way that it could have been taken away by the audience as well as the buyer by saying it, by evaluating the features and comparing it by CPR. That means cost, compact, powerful, and reliable. Now, when you say it this way, it is very easily rememberable by the buyer, and they can later on refer to these 3-4 factors, and it will cover up everything. So you first off start, because when we buy anything, the most important thing is to understand that cost is an important factor. So if you keep all these things in mind, it will be a wonderful selling.
This was 3 minutes and 30 seconds of pure raw feedback. So understanding that Pallavi has to go and take care of some things at outside the Toastmasters world, let's all thank Pallavi for her evaluation and her excellent meeting contribution tonight. And looking forward to sharing the stage again with you, Pallavi, at our next meeting. So goodbye. All right. Bye-bye. Then I've already announced a small crisis tonight as part of my speech, but I can tell you that we keep losing evaluators. So far, Naveen will be sending a written evaluation to Hiran, and I will ask Hiran to do the same for Pallavi, who just checked out. And as I saw in the chat, Kelvin will be doing the same for myself. So those of us that are...
So just quick one, Panos, Hiran over here. Just
Hiran is back. So
no, I am back. But do I have to evaluate Pallavi, or do I send her a return evaluation? Just wanted to check that.
I'm not gonna tell you what to do. I'm gonna leave this up to you. But if you decide to give an oral evaluation, you can do that knowing that Pallavi is not in the room, but she can watch the recording later. So I'm leaving this up to you. Pallavi has sent me a message to ask you if you could possibly email her an evaluation. But
yes,
you're also welcome to give an oral evaluation, but knowing that she will have to look at it at a different point in time.
Yeah, of course. No, so I will give her the written as well, but for my own benefit of mastering my evaluation, and if time permits, so I completely surrender to the Toastmaster of the evening in terms of what you feel right. But if the time is short, then I will, and of course the the person who's being evaluated isn't there, then I'm okay with either.
So you're getting
What
very
is right?
wrong.
What is right to do within Toastmasters is what serves its members. So you will be giving your oral evaluation tonight, Hiran.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
first things first, let's do the best we can to keep some order in the order of the evaluations. And the first in line would be Toastmaster Dennis evaluating Hakim. Hakim's speech, making the homemaker. Dennis, are you good to go?
Yes, I'm all right. I see Hakim is still around. So, all right. Okay. Timer, you ready? Okay. Hakim's project was to communicate on television, and it was really an enjoyable one, especially for most of us knew that he was interviewing his wife, and that was actually really fun in that we knew the interplay and some of the questions that he was asking, and then the answers that his wife was giving was really kind of fun to hear. The beginning was a little bit rough because of some technical difficulties with the audio, but I'm glad that we did stop and correct that. Otherwise, we would not be able to enjoy the presentation at all. So it was good to pause and fix the audio for this. Since this was an interview on television, I think the camera angle was a little bit awkward since there was only a single camera, and the camera was for both Hakim and his wife, and then also his daughter was in there in and out, which added to the complication. But overall, I thought that the interview went very well. The questions were very good. He allowed enough time for the answers to be given to him. However, I think that you might want to cut her off at a few points so that she doesn't speak so long and you could ask a few more questions. So as an interviewer, I think that you want to allow your person to answer the question. However, if they start going long and you cannot ask any more questions, I would find a way to cut the person off and then insert another question so that you can get more information from the individual. I said, I love the interplay that you folks had with the interview, and that the questions were very interesting, and the answers were very good. So overall, I enjoyed the presentation. I think that if we were doing this in a regular club setting, I think we would have to have a camera that would adjust the angle to both the person who is asking the questions and then also the person answering it, and so that you can adjust the angle, and so that you would be looking directly in the camera, and the person answering the question would also look directly into the camera. But otherwise, I think everything went well. The timing was good. Your overall time was good. And I really enjoyed the presentation, and love to hear some more. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you for your evaluation, Toastmaster Dennis, and a word of caution to Toastmaster Hakim. As your evaluator, Toastmaster Dennis said, you might want to cut your wife off. So use this suggestion with caution. Feel free to test it, but use good measure, exercise good measure. Moving on to the second evaluator tonight, Toastmaster Thomas evaluating Mina's speech, Who is the Liar? Can Toastmaster Thomas hear us?
Merry Christmas, Thomas.
Let's all welcome
Hi.
Thomas.
Yes, can you hear me? Good. All right, hi everyone, especially to Mina. So Mina shared with us an enriching and engaging story with a strong life message behind it. And to appreciate the villain of the story, I shall evaluate her speech using the acronym MEAT, meat. So what does M represent? Mesmerizing voice. Mina spoke with clearness and clarity. Her voice was audible, yet not too overpowering. And what I especially love about her vocal usage is her strategic pauses at certain places to create suspense. For example, when the judge was about to rule who is the correct party. So all of these adds on to her mesmerizing voice. It captures our attention and it allowed us to appreciate what she shared. E for emotional words. You know, she put in emotional vocabularies to express how the different characters was feeling at that point in time. For example, how the meat seller was feeling very sad because no customers was around to purchase the meat, or how when both the sellers were arguing, they were angry. You know, all of these emotional words breathe life into the character, and it helped us to connect with these characters deeper because we are able to feel what they felt. And now moving on to A for the arrangement of content. Well, she used a storytelling structure which gives a smooth and systematic flow of the content, and it gives us a journey of discovery of how the story progressed. And not only that, it kept us in suspense, especially at the ending part of how the judge find out who was the true, who was speaking the truth, right? So all of this is able to allow the audience to follow through the content smoothly, as well as keep us on suspense. Now I love to move on to T, tips and tricks, so that your speech will be a Michelin star. So first recommendation is to refine the conversation and the dialogues between the different characters, because conversations and dialogues are able to give personalities. For example, during the argument, you can reenact the argument. Hey, those money belongs to me. Why do you take it? Right? So that can bring out the anger. Or when you are emulating the judge, it can be a very cool voice to show that the judge is very cool, very systematic in his process. So that is able to bring out the characterization. Not only that, also do consider to add more description to create vivid imagery. For example, when you are describing the surrounding, you can say the village was dead silent, or the weather was scorching hot. So all of these paint vivid imagery in our mind, and the audience is able to visualize what happened at that point in time. All right. So in summary, I'd like to congratulate Mina, a very enriching story delivered with a mesmerizing voice using emotional words as well as smooth arrangement of content. However, do consider to refine the conversations between the different characters, as it is a great opportunity to bring out characterization as well as add in vivid description to trigger the audience facilitation and imagery of what happened during that point in time. All the best for your future speeches.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you. And again, it seems to be a regular theme in our evaluations tonight. 3.5 minutes of
maximizing the time.
Yeah, raw, useful, immediately applicable feedback. I'm loving this. Are you?
Anos, you are frozen on the screen.
Can you hear me?
Yep, yep.
All right, all right. So now we shall move on to Hiren, who will be giving his evaluation for Pallavi's speech, Think Outside the Box. So help me welcome Hiren to the stage.
Hi, good evening, Toastmaster of the evening, and very warm welcome to Pallavi whenever she hears my evaluation. And I would like to begin in terms of my evaluation through the theme, which was out of the box. And I take the three words of the acronym out of the box, so O, B, and T. And well, O is what Pallavi did outstanding. I think what she did was start with a quote and actually segue from the earlier presentation, which eventually happened to be my presentation. And that was actually the out of the box thinking in terms of quoting through the entire quote, which says that it is the journey and not the destination, and you know, segued into the men-women shopping thing that I did, and then open the speech. So I think that was real out of the box thinking that Pallavi demonstrated. The other thing, again, moving on to the second one. So we finished the outstanding things, or and T was something that was really done well, was thinking through the whole thing, which is the entire storytelling bit. So telling us through the story, and when the story was told, it was actually role playing the story. And when I mean role playing of story, which was actually through her fingers telling or demonstrating what does the three birds signify. So it really brought the experience or the expressions out in a storytelling environment. So always, as they say, a personal story weaves in what a normal presentation would go in to do. So I think that was very well demonstrated through the two stories that she said about the conversation with her son, demonstrating the out of the box thinking. Now, coming to what could be done better, and that's where the B of out of the box comes in. I feel that the conclusion was a little bit stretched. When you as we go in the Toastmaster, the basic is that there is an intro, there is a body, and there is a conclusion. I think the only point of improvement that I see in the speech overall that Pallavi gave was just the conclusion, which got a little bit drag. I hope if the conclusion was a little bit crisper, I think it would have really given speech its extra shine. So I think overall very nicely delivered. And as she quoted, a famous management guru says that thinking out of the box. I would say that I quote another management guru, which is Deepak Chopra again, who says that why think out of the box? Why don't just throw the box away? So with that, I wish Pallavi all the best for the future speeches. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hiran, for your evaluation, which I look forward to watching in the recording because my internet connection died in between. And the most amazing thing happened is that I managed to reconnect within those 3 minutes. So apologies for this, but when it comes to all things internet, patience is due. We have one more evaluation tonight, the last one, but not least. Toastmaster Mina will be evaluating the competition speech from Toastmaster Sunshine. The title of the speech was Growing Up. So take it away, Toastmaster Mina.
Good evening, Toastmasters, or maybe good morning. So now I'm going to evaluate Chen's speech, which is a contest speech. And for a contest speech, it was a really interesting topic. And growing up, everybody wants to hear growing up stories. It is always interesting. And to point out to the very good things about Chen's speech is that she had questions throughout the speech, starting with a question to capture the audience attention, also a question which was more relevant to the audience of the meeting. Then she cracked some jokes to hide the age and to relate to the parents, like laughing by cracking jokes at the tiger parents, and then few more questions about mobile, pager, and computer, and some technologies to keep the audience tied to her speech throughout. So the questions were split in a time interval, in a gap of less than 1 minute, so that the audience is not lost at any point of time. So this is a very good technique, and I suppose this you can still use in your contest, which will definitely earn you more points. Also, I noticed that there are some really good usage of language, although it was a bit tough to note down because I was tied to the content that you was talking about. I realized that you have really good usage of language, and sometimes you use the slang of lay, may, and all those things, which is Singapore style, which gives a local and very connective speech to the audience of the day, of the evening. Also, I realized that you didn't overuse the slang to enhance the experience for the international audience. That is also a very interesting point. Another interesting thing, and that you have to improve on your speech is the speech structure itself. Since I don't get where it was leading to for the first minute, I was confused what you were going to talk about. Are you going to talk about the computer technology itself, or the entire growing up phase of your age? So I was little confused in the beginning, but going towards the end of the speech, it was fine. So maybe you want to rework on the structure to better contest in the competition. Also, sometimes you try to use the notes for a contest speech. Maybe you should practice more and avoid notes. On the usage of time, you were exactly on 7 minutes 29 seconds, which is a very good usage. But then I realized that you were rushing to give your conclusion because you were too dragged away in sharing your experience with your friend. So, being a contest speech, there is a weightage of 15% for the conclusion, at least 15% for the conclusion. So, I wish that you can make the conclusion better. In overall, it was a very good content, well delivered. If improved, will definitely win the contest. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mina. Well, you've proven my assumption that evaluations here are very juicy. That was 3.5 minutes of attacking Shanshan's evaluation from all possible angles, it seems. So congratulations to you, and a big round of applause to all of you that are still standing and giving your evaluations, doing your service to fellow Toastmasters. The evaluations are done and over, which brings me as your host tonight, as the Toastmaster of the evening, to a point where I feel compelled to issue another apology because I forgot the voting for the best speaker before, in the midst of all the technicalities and looking for a solution time-wise. I'm afraid I did not do justice to any one of you for not giving you the opportunity to vote for the speaker of your choice. So the only way that it seems that we can do something about it right now is if we go through the voting now for best speaker, and then also
So are we done with the voting before I activate the evaluation? Because it's like panel has freeze. Okay, no one else. I will end the poll. And Hakim is the best speaker for tonight. Okay, next, let me launch the polling for best evaluator. So you all have to exclude Kelvin, who else? Okay, one more to go. Okay, and I will end the polling. So the best evaluator go to Thomas again. Okay, let me go to the best speaker again. I think nobody has saw it. It's Hakim. Thomas must attend more Friday meeting. Okay, let us go to the best evaluator again. The best evaluator is Thomas the Train. That is our regular. I was caught by her surprise. Okay, I will stop the recording. I will stop the poll, and before I end the meeting, we have only one guest left, Sophie. Can you unmute yourself, Sophie? Are you still there, Sophie? Okay, never mind. Seems like she have okay. Pano have something to say. Over to you.
I wish to take this opportunity to thank all of you. I can tell you that time flies like a scooter when we're meeting online, all of us together here. Thanks to everyone that took meetings role. I enjoy being the Toastmaster of the day in this group. I enjoy it tremendously. It gives me energy. It brings my passion out. So many thanks go to all of you tonight. And I would like the time to speed up and fly until we all get to meet online again. So this is a big round of applause to all of you. Thank you.
So,
back to you, President.
Yeah, thank you. Tonight is a full meeting for you. So give us your feedback. I know you are so big.
I'm not sure, because I'm being the timer, I'm not sure whether actually people can see the timer when they're doing the presentation. That's where I'm a bit like confused whether they're actually seeing the timing. But I can see the rest of them. I think they can, like Panos can tell the time. So I think that's my main concern, whether people can see the time. I think besides that, everything else went quite smoothly in that sense, I think. But that's all from me. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Angela, how's your experience connecting for London?
I'm delighted to fulfill the lifetime's dream to have been online from London and to find that the timing works so well. Only two things happened. One was that for some bizarre reason, I didn't realize that I should have been speaking for 2 minutes in topics and thought it was 3 minutes, which is what the Evaluator does. So my timing was out and I took longer than I should have done. I would also like to have done a speech, and when we were hanging around waiting, I thought that was a wasted time. Those who were technical could have gone on, and instead of everybody sitting around, I could have done a 5-minute speech. That's it, a wonderful meeting. And I was very excited by Panos's speech about how this is not a problem, but an opportunity for Toastmasters, and how if meetings were being cancelled, the other thing to note was that the attendance was going down, which I hadn't thought of, and that could be put to Toastmasters as a reason why they should let us do meetings online. And I was also very excited by the idea that we should be asked for more time to finish our manuals or even get to DTM, given the present problems. So thank you for that, Panos. And
Thank
all
you,
in all,
Angela.
obviously very well done, Willie. I mean, the whole thing is caused by you, so thank you.
Welcome. I just have a few messages. Toastmaster panel being a meeting host tonight has shown leadership skill where he tried to manage the meeting. Before the meeting, he was so stressed out because he had not been able to get the speaker title of the project speech. I helped him to give the contact, and he be less than half an hour, he managed to get the speaker title. That was a well-prepared Toastmaster of the day. I'm not saying other Toastmaster did not perform well. I just mentioned that tonight meeting, we supposed to go even more overtime, but he controlled the time very well. That shows that he should be in the next EXCO in 3 months' time. At least be a Toastmaster of the day will show the the server leadership in you, other than being a club officer role. It's totally two different things. Because managing a meeting is a very tiring job for every one of us who have been a Toastmaster of the day. Myself, Alicia, Sunshine, Pano, Hakim, Anna, we all feel so tired after the meeting as a TME of the day. Well, server leadership does not mean that you have to be a club officer. Server leadership start where you're Toastmaster of the day, where you are a speaker as well as a project evaluator. In conclusion, thanks for attending this long meeting. We may have a very good club tonight, all thanks to COVID-19. We hope that after the pandemic is over, we want to see the same club. So I will need all the EXCO club officer as well as the member to support the continuous meeting until June 30th, 2020, where of a traditional pathway ends. That is where we have to rethink where we want to go from there. Thank you and have a nice week. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.